The Black Clover editor stated that Yuno was supposed to die in the first 7 chapters? What? Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about a huge statement, I guess, by one of the Black Clover editors who said that he was planning on having Yuno dying, or that Tabata, or whatever, the collaborative effort between them, had Yuno dying in the first 7 chapters. Now, we'll talk about this and possibilities of it, but that being said, guys, please like and subscribe. You guys have been killing it with the like goals. Let's shoot for 1,500 likes. Let's get 1,500 just because we're happy that Yuno is still alive, because that would have not been a good decision in my beliefs. And also, if we're not at 50k yet, we should be there very soon. So thank you guys so much for all the support. As I have said before, my goal is 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. But anyways, guys, let's just quickly get into this video. So I saw this going around online on Twitter, and I went into Google Translate, and yeah, so this was from a Black Clover editor that said that Yuno was planning to die within 7 chapters. Now, it does say 7 episodes, but it is common from what I've heard for episodes and chapters to essentially mean the same thing in the community for Japan and their language. And it makes sense because, I mean, why would it be different from the anime to the manga? So of course they're talking about the manga. Like, you wouldn't just kill Yuno off in the anime, but keep him alive in the manga, because their adaptation is pretty close to each other. So yeah, holy crap, I cannot imagine Yuno dying in the first 7 chapters. That would be really weird, because one of the huge driving forces of not only just the dynamic of Asta, but the entire series itself is the rivalry between Asta and Yuno and how much they push each other. Now, sure, I guess their rivalry pushed them each other to have the goal become the Wizard King, but if Yuno dies, does that make Asta less motivated or more motivated and he wants to do it for Yuno? I think that there are some ways that could have been interesting in the series, but overall, no. I'm very glad that Yuno is still alive. I love his new forms. I think that he is a character that still does need more development. I wish that Tabata would maybe give him like an entire arc to himself, and we get to see a lot more of his thoughts on the inside. I think that would be really good. But no, I'm so glad that he's still alive, because we wouldn't get some of the really good moments from him of what he's done, like fighting Rill, like going against Mars, and much more, and going against Xenon now. So we would have missed out on so many great moments. We wouldn't have seen Asta and Yuno team up against the Licht. And that means we probably never get an Asta versus Yuno fight. But that actually leads me to my first point, is I wonder if Yuno was originally intended to die, but then come back through the reincarnation spell that Zagredo was going to do. Maybe that was what Tabata was planning something, and instead of it being the soul of Licht and Tetia-san, we actually would have just gotten Yuno back, and that would be through some sort of reincarnation spell, and that's how Yuno comes back later in the series, and that could be pretty interesting. One of the ways I possibly see this maybe being true from the beginning, and it was changed maybe early on, and maybe even after the series started, is that we have, Yuno has the Magic Stone, and Asta has the Demon Slayer sword in the very beginning. Well, once they get their grimoires. But, interestingly enough, there is a spot on the hilt of the Demon Slayer sword where it looks like Yuno's Magic Stone, the pendant, could fit perfectly. So, I wonder if this was the intention, is that Yuno dies, and then Asta puts Yuno's pendant within the Demon Slayer sword, and maybe that reminds him of Yuno, maybe it keeps Yuno's soul inside of it, maybe he can use Yuno's power or some weird power from the Magic Stone with the Demon Slayer sword, although I don't know how that would work because it's magic and anti-magic combined. But that's something I'm thinking of. Maybe that was an original plan, and that's why Asta has never used that spot in the Demon Slayer sword, even though a Magic Stone could, it looks like the perfect spot to put a Magic Stone. So that's one thing that makes me think about, is maybe that was the original intent, and maybe now it'll be used for something else, because I honestly think it will be. I think that Asta will probably put something there at some point, whether that be a Magic Stone, Yuno's, I don't know. But yeah, so another thing is that it was actually brought up to me by somebody in my Discord with my friends. He told me to watch SG Sami's videos on it, and this is coming full circle, because weeks ago he shouted me out, and now we come full circle. I'm going to shout him out now, because he brought up a point in his video, and this is what one of my Discord members said, is that in the original one-shot, Asta, he had everything, pretty much, but Yuno didn't have a pendant, and maybe because of that, Yuno was not really planned out and fleshed out to be a more important character, because in the one shot he didn't have that magic stone. And that's quite interesting to me. Now, a lot did change. Now, I guess not really a lot. I'd say the one shot's like 80 to 90% the same, but what's one of the things that changes? Yuno did get a pendant within the real chapter, not the one shot. So yeah, good point by Sami. So you guys should go subscribe to him. I left a link in the description. He does theories and stuff like that, and the one that he shouted me out in, that was a good theory. So yeah, that is something that is very interesting to bring up, is why Yuno didn't have a pendant in the original series, whereas Asta still had his sword, still had his grimoire. So that's definitely interesting. Now, when it comes to possibilities, I don't like it. I don't like Yuno not being in the series. Now, honestly, he probably would get reincarnated, maybe, based on what Tabata was planning, through Sigred's spell or something like that. Or maybe it would have been like Lichtentetia's son, and it would have been weird because it'd be somebody who looked like Yuno, but it wasn't Yuno. It was somebody from like the distant past. There's so many ways Tabata could have done with it. I'm just glad he's going this way, because Black Clover is my favorite series. It's my number one. So I'm fine with everything that's happened. Now, of course, that doesn't mean there's some things I don't like about the series, but Yuno being in it is definitely a highlight for me. He's one of my favorite characters. His top 5 character for me. It might even be my 4th favorite. So definitely glad that he's still there. I think that we would have missed out on so many great moments and opportunities if Yuno was not in the series, so I'm really glad they kept him in. Now, I wonder how serious this was and how close it was to happening, because I know that editors can have huge sway on mangaka. Even Toriyama was hugely swayed by his editors multiple times in the Dragon Ball, as even before Dragon Ball, he had Dr. Slump, which was a multi-million dollar series, and his editors still controlled him a lot when it came to Dragon Ball. You'd think he'd have maybe a bit more freedom as a successful mangaka, but they changed a lot. They even made it so that he wanted androids 19 and 20 to be the final androids, but they made him make androids 17 and 18 because androids 19 and 20 didn't seem very threatening, very fearful. So I'm not surprised that maybe this is the way it was going. Maybe it was the reverse. Maybe Tabata, he wanted Yuno to die, but I believe it was just the editor speaking from his perspective based on the translation of that I used, and that is that he was going to have Yuno to die. But I'm very glad, because Yuno has morphed into one of the best rivals in Shonen, and Asta and Yuno is probably my favorite rivalry, because they have a rivalry that is found on respect, mutual respect, love, brotherly love, and it's almost like Asta knows that Yuno has the potential to become the Wizard King, and vice versa. They are both trying to become the Wizard King, but they both know that each other could become the Wizard King, and they only see each other as basically being the ones in the way. Asta thinks he will be the Wizard King, but the only one that can stop him is Yuno. Yuno thinks he'll become the Wizard King, but the only one that can stop him is Asta. So it's become one of the best rivalries. They are there for each other, and one of the great moments of the latest chapter, and actually it's not even the latest, it's the one before, where Yuno is talking to Zenon, and he's not even worried about the ancient demon that's going to be in the Clover Kingdom, because he's like, well, Asta's there, so he's going to take care of it. So I like that they like know and they believe in each other, because it's just a great rivalry. It's better, like, I don't want to hate on My Academia, but in my opinion, it's better than Bakugo and Deku. It's better than Naruto and Sasuke. Even though I love the Naruto series, it's pretty much like what is the peak of rivalry in Shonen, because it's done very different, whereas in many times it's a lot more of an aggro relationship where they do not get along. But Asta and Yuno get along quite well. They were brothers, orphan brothers, for over a decade, and since then, yeah, of course, they do have the brotherly bickering and the actual moments of acting like brothers, but that's what brothers act like. Like, some people think that Asta and Yuno are like a little hostile towards each other, but they probably don't have a brother of their own if they see it that way, because there's definitely a brotherly relationship based on purely respect and love. So I think that would be a huge theme and portion missing from the series if Yuno did die in the beginning. That would have sucked. But let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think? How would you have viewed the series if Yuno died within the first 7 chapters, which is probably going to be in the first volume if he did die? But let me know your thoughts down below. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let's shoot for 1,500 likes for Yuno still being alive. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Plus...